Columbia Board of Education, and Columbia 5PAC, Financial Planning and Allocation Commission. Wednesday, January 17th, 2024, in Yeoman's Hall. So the first thing I gotta tell you, this meeting is being held both in person and virtual. We actually have Stefania, who is a member of the Board of Ed, joining us virtually, so. Stefania, if you need to weigh in on anything, you raise your hand, or you can come off the mute and we'll try and grab your attention, okay?
Okay, thank you.
I would ask that we're all cordial, respectful, and if not, if you're on Zoom, I'll cut you off, and if you're here and you can't act that way, you gotta go, okay? We're working together. Anybody who is, well, state your name and address. We don't need to do that, right?
No.
Excellent. So, number 2, please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please make a motion to approve the agenda.
Yes.
All right, I move to approve the agenda as it is presented. Anybody have a question or want to add or delete the whole thing? Seeing none, all those in favor of approval? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Thank you. Purpose of the meeting. Great. Now I talk. This is probably our toughest time of the year. The next 3-4 months. We need to pull together a budget we put before the town. There's a lot of issues every year. I got to tell you that this year, in preparation for this, it's going to be one of our most difficult, at times painful. Budget that we have to agree upon, put before the voters of this town. It could be lengthy. It could be difficult. I don't blow smoke. You guys have worked with me enough to know. I'm telling you straight up, this could be a difficult budget. Mandates that are being passed down to us from Hartford, mandates that may be passed down to us that we're working to get ahead of. The recent rainfall and what it's done to our infrastructure. Our health services, not only for the well-being of our citizens and their social services, but there's also our fire and our ambulance that we have to continue to take a look at. Our volunteers do a wonderful job, but we need more volunteers. So I will ask that you listen, jot down your questions, be prepared. If you have a concern about something and you've thought about it enough to complain or ask a question, provide a solution. We're a part of one. Nothing's 100%. We can talk about it. Maybe we take a piece of your solution and we marry it up with other pieces. And we come up with the best program, the best piece of the puzzle for moving forward. I always say this is my favorite time of year. I gotta tell you, right now, this is gonna be work. So I need you all. And I know you'll come through for the people of Columbia. So our purpose of this meeting is to get a general overview of where we are, where we stand, and what the future looks like. So, time to get started. Thank you. Review of the fiscal year 22-23 and expenditures. Municipal. Are you doing that?
Everything.
There we go. State your name.
So we also just have a pattern here and try to separate it out by the year and all that. So the first page in the packet is going to talk about the town revenues for the 22-23 year. Overall, the town did very well with revenues. There's about over $600,000 in back into the general. Our collection rate was over 99%. We had some unanticipated revenues, like the municipal revenue sharing from the state of Connecticut. In first told us we weren't getting it, well, we ended up with over $106,000. Interest rate has come back dramatically since COVID started, and we ended up with over $80,000 additional interest, for after $78,000 into the general fund above budget. Some of our real estate payments, there's over $20,000 additional. Some of our building and land use fees, we brought in an additional over $40,000. Even transportation stickers was up about $11,000. Our special ed grants, we brought in $77,000. And those are pretty much the highlights. You see probably in the report, we did not submit for LoSiP last year, because of that revenue provision in case we need it. The plan is going to look at that and this month is 35 for that and kind of get some of that money in. Basically, the plan is for the maintenance garage and stuff at Grant Park, and we need it funding for it. So that's the type of it coming up. But yeah, overall, we did very well with revenues last year. Is there any questions? Is the next report in the town of Columbia revenue and expenditure report. The town had a surplus of over $400,000. That was returned to the general fund. Some of the highlights were there were savings in all the salary lines that had to do with, there was some staff from over, they weren't using floaters. There was $1,000 that we in the salary lines, so that funding was all returned back. We anticipated people taking certain benefits, we could turn over. We had savings of over $20,000 in insurance benefits. Same thing, the payroll taxes, electricity. And there was a surplus of over $80,000. That too, Mr. They can have recommended which will expire in the fall. I did go on and then under budget like 22,000. And so we the warm winter last year, that they was the oil, not the oil. We had there. We did have a changeover in our super, so there was some savings in that 36,000, and we also did use about $33,000 of contingency. So it's just funny that is back into the general fund. Any questions on the board record? So the finance is meant for overview. No questions? The next thing is so we have the board presentation. Basically we're sharing over $2 million into this year. The new project is quite a list of HVAC, school projects have been completed, there's security and asbestos removal. The public works is able to purchase I think it's a mini excavator. It's the road proceeding line that was funded the car fund. So, nothing out of the ordinary, we still have funding in there to carry forward and do this year. And then the next page, and next two pages have to do with the American Relief Fund. The first one shows all the projects that were in the process during the 2023 year. But the last page shows you all the projects that the board of selectmen had approved. And so that right now, as of June 30th, there were some of that about about 25,000 that is paid. There's some private staff and paid in, so there's like 5,000 available right now.
How much?
45. Might be a little less than they do some projects, a little over budget, but, I would say this time like they're going to say 30,000 available currently, but there are, but you'll see that later on, and it's just need to go into that. And so,
When does that, relief funds have to be used by, or,
updated, and I'll put this one by December 31.
thank you.
This fund has to be spent by 2026. If we don't apply for it, if we're not obligated by 2031, we lose that funding. We have to do that, no matter what. Even if we say January 2nd, we have funding, we have to do that.
And it has to be paid by 26, yeah,
That's one, yeah, yeah. Based on the last, webinar, they said, yeah, they're definitely going to be looking for that by the end of the year.
okay.
I'm sorry, but you said January 1st, 2026?
December 31st,
December
has to be obligated.
26.
Yeah. Oh, it has
No.
to spend by.
Obligated by the end of this year, right?
Right.
Spent by 26.
End of 26.
End of
And
26.
This way I have time, because I know like there's some, like we had a truck, we had
Still,
covered like over a year ago.
it's going on with it.
It's supposed to be in like, May. May is the latest date.
For the next is the Board of Education budget. They actually, over $68,000 back to the general fund. That is. I was last year, between staff turnover and new employee safety benefits that hadn't been benefits before with turnover. There were some changes in special ed, including student communication. Needed coverage of about $100,000, but there were savings like the mine, electricity, like our workers' comp came in under 12,000. And one of the things that did help the board of ed last year was, as far as health, there was quite a few new grants that she applied for and received, into about, to that and additional on some other grants, about $90,000 running to help the budget along with the changes that were coming along. And some of these grants were to help with the special ed, so. That was very helpful, but then again, just watching what the spending and stuff, there was like, that were going on in staff and students, so. Overall, we did very well last year, and.
So how much was we paying?
68.
7,000.
I have a question. Did you put any money into the non-lapsing account that you have?
No.
Where does that stand?
$300,000.
So-
They decided not to fund it because, you know, they thought at that point, 300,000 would be enough to cover the 3 months of year, so. That's enough.
But you didn't use it.
It's rolling to the general fund.
So it's available if you need it this year or.
So you had $300,000 additional costs in special eds during the last year or this year?
It was last year, but then other lines that weren't. They were able to like basically shift things in the budget, like there were savings, say. Some of the salaries didn't have it, but like benefits and insurance and other items. So we gave some of the regular tuition and certification, we gave to cover what we needed for the schedule.
Okay.
And so it just happened to work out. And then after that, we did next page, so the all grants, the board of ed received. I saw like a final or extended report, I wanted to go line where they ended up. Are you ready for me to do it?
Absolutely.
This is short. Again, 2023, that's in the packet, we start off with the revenue report. It's hard to predict where we're at right now, so we know in the year, but I will say that, and the fact that the tax collector, and we're pretty much at the same point as last year, but we created that tax collection, so we're doing quite well. We collected over $10 million, since the end of the year. We again, the town did out, affecting it by budgeting, we get another revenue sharing of 133,000. So that was going to be in benefits, I think the meeting becoming quite well. I think last time I looked at it, on the short-term investments, it was over about almost 5.5%. So it's doing well. We're getting somewhere between 10, 15 months each month on the investment. It looks like all the city the town is collecting is coming in at their budget a little above. I haven't gotten all the state funding yet.
Bev, can you, all the what we've collected is coming in at budget? What, all the what?
Most of the town fees, like
Fees.
state fees,
Thank you.
I think that's coming in more. I think, like even the train station fees, they seem to be coming in hard. It looks like, they're about half of the budget, so if the guys down there are doing big time something. Even preschool tuition is coming in pretty much at or near, maybe even end up being a little above budget by the end of the year. So I think overall the revenue is coming in well. I haven't heard anything from the state that there isn't going to do anything this year. They pretty much let them get revenue has been coming in on time and present the budget lines that they said. Other than I think the UCF may be coming in above based on the first payment. We may be getting an additional 75 above budget because they had announced last year they were going to reduce funding, they're going to keep it level. But we didn't know that last year before the budget was passed, so we could be getting a little extra. Thank you for the sign. Yeah, that's good. Okay, keep going. The next packet is planning to board of selectmen budget. Seeing any concerns on the budget line, I don't think we've had to do that much contingency. There has been some staff turnover. Depending on retires and all that, it could be a little tight and those lines a little bit, but I'm not overly concerned.
Page one,
Replacement of computer equipment, so I'm so that's staying within budget, so I have no procedures of time. Any questions?
So, percentage left, 84%. Is to the end of the year, the last 6 months of the year.
There's some things that still need to be posted, some payroll and stuff like that, so that never kind of really got, so.
Okay.
everything, they will be working. The next thing is the Anderson and Grace on capital, we're again on progress, investigating Humber currently. We haven't made any. Hasn't been any town meeting projections other than Mark will talk about it later about some planning about some projects that are coming up, but right now everything seems to be coming in far and moving along with all the capital. And the next page is again the American Relief Fund, the way you want to get where we're at.
did we do?
Right,
that?
I've said before, these are at least 45,000, but we do have a couple of projects that are over budget, so probably make it more like 30,000, because it's currently available from the completion of some projects, so. We can do so. So, and then we're at the Board of Ed budget again, there is some monitoring closely of the budget. Again, there have been some changes, farmers will have a little bit, that's the costs, there's changes in staff, I don't think it's gonna impact too much of the budget right now, everything seems to be lining up pretty much except for maybe some of the student needs that are coming, they'll have to happen this year. Barb has gone out and got, grant funding to cover some of our costs. Right now, it's probably been approved for about $150,000 for grant funding, which will take care of some funding for the new, language arts curriculum. That came in a little high, but there was a additional grade in. And then there was a third experience that without grant, so, that's gonna help with the budget, with, some of the budgets, the grants we currently have, there was an additional grant funding given that for like another $1,000, $3,000, so that's helping to alleviate some lines so that other lines can be covered really where needed. That is pretty much all the part of that. Any questions on that?
Well, I was happy to see the 84% down the town. I'm a little discouraged to see the 1.98% on the Board of Ed.
So, Board of Ed is a little different, the accounting of it. We cover all the salaries.
About the year.
That is what's available. So there is more concern with possibly available to the rest of the year, but the town, you know,
That's on the textbook.
SRBI textbook, SRBI is intervention, so we gave them that. So that would be materials for intervention.
Scientific research based. Scientific research based intervention.
What page is that on? What page is that on? Where is it?
So your supplies.
It's, the textbooks,
Yeah.
second from the bottom. Textbooks, workbooks, idea.
Yeah.
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 Okay,
And so it's not only then, I included, because everybody wants the budget challengers, and some people tend to upcoming, to the board and then town and fight that, particularly hot. Money, we have a little. So, that covers that.
okay,
So I continue with that.
yeah, please.
So it's to, the tax basis standards, right now, the assessor is still working on it, I probably today, I may not be ready in a couple of weeks, we're waiting for some more information, one more vehicles and a few other items, so as soon as that is available, you know, everybody was watching, just the way that is, tax collection, so as of June 30th, 2023, the last year, we guys was 99.3% tax collection rate, but it was also the actual last year that helped with the collection. And right now, we're at about 67%, which is similar to same as last year. Even now, we're predicting that by the end of this year, we'll have possibly 98% collection. Despite totally kind of. There are no net payments right now in the town, but I know with possible future projects, there could be on bonding, so nothing now. As for the fund balance, as of June thirtieth, the fund balance was projected at about the available fund balance about 3.6, which is about 18%. So it's still a healthy fund balance, but taking off for $3 million out, even though it's down last year. That could continue based on some information that I guess that Mark talked about, there's a time when it's coming up, possible, general fund, transfer. As for revenues from the state of Connecticut, they have not issued any information yet about next year's predictions, that we should have come out in February. But the only thing I know is that Barbara had sent me earlier that this grant could be staying about funding again for next year, so, so I'll make sure I look at that, and hopefully it stays that way, so that would be about $3 million. And then the other part would be, so if there's nothing else on the town side, there's questions on it. Yeah. I'll let Barb go over some of the next.
All right, so projected student count, currently at Norris Porter, we have 479 students as of today. That number keeps creeping up. 3 years ago, from today, we had 78 fewer students, so we've grown quite a bit. So we anticipate that will continually be creeping up for next year. High school students, currently there are 203 high school students. 39 of those are graduating. We currently have 49 eighth graders. So we estimate next year we'll have an increase of 10 high school students. That does not include tech schools because they're everything just.
What's the tuition on the high school?
They're about 15,000 for the
13,
15.
15. Okay. But it's pretty same at both schools.
Questions on the comments at this time?
So what you said, 479 in Porter now, what do you project?
We're projecting every month we seem to grow by 2 or 3, so potentially, you know, I anticipate we'll stay right under 500.
We'll say 500.
So, moving on, special ed, as that indicated, we had a number of unbudgeted expenses. When students move into town, we take over their IEPs. We can't make significant changes to those. So if a student moves into town who is outplaced, we assume that outplacement and those costs. Additionally, if the student is outplaced, there's also transportation costs associated with that. Some of the transportation costs are external. We have a new one student for each day. The student has to travel to a different town. It's $349 per day. So that's an idea of the transportation costs. So we do have some unbudgeted. However, we did also have a few withdrawals. So at this time, from what was budgeted for special education, we're about $75,000 over budget right now. I anticipate next year increasing the special education budget from what was budgeted this year by about 10 to 12%.
And 10 to 12% represents what in dollars, please?
Pardon me?
What does that represent in dollars?
It's about 100,000. About $1 million, and going up by 100 to 120,000.
Yeah.
Additional.
Looking at the new legislation,
Which one? Right, well, that was one of the unbudgeted expenses I shared with you before,
Yep.
they changed that legislation. Some of the reason that we're only 75 here is some of these changes happened at a half year, so it's a little less, which is why I'm anticipating if we budget for what came in for a whole year, that's where we're gonna get about a 12% increase. Any questions on special education funding? And special education funding, I'm including in there if we have any English language learner funding, I'm including anything that's student services related. Sometimes 504 plans require certain equipment be purchased, it's not necessarily special education, but it falls under student services, it's for students to other disabilities. Staffing, moving on to staffing, it's kind of hard at this point. We're in the middle of really trying to be creative with scheduling, to use current staffing, because we all know adding staff is expensive. We did preliminarily, we have 80 new students. It's difficult to not add staffing. We don't want classes of 25, 30 kids, so it's too early to say if we need to be adding staffing. We're really trying very hard to not add staffing, to keep what we have today.
How many kids in a class typically?
We like to keep it about 18, 17. Usually you want a smaller amount in younger grades, so kindergarten, 14, 15 is ideal, as you know, middle school, closer to 18, 19. Sometimes our specials, we find that we can't keep them that small because of staffing, so sometimes we'll have to double up on those and then add an additional staff member just for supervision, but sometimes I think gym classes with a lot of kids. But then we have 2 adults in there. So talk about, MDR.
Our favorite topic. So in your packet, I also put in last year's and then
Last 2 pages.
you'll see that for last year, actually there wasn't a budget increase for the board of ed, it's a flat budget from the year before. And if there had been, say, the town had decided to decrease that budget, we would have been allowed to, I guess, decrease it by about 197,000, that's the present high school, and the drop in student population, whatever. So they could have budgeted $12.6 million. So it turned out that they did need almost the 12.8 based on the 67,000 in return. So they pretty much used budget, they used too much forward budget that was given to them. When you look at the 2024 budget, there was over $700,000 increase. And just like last year, they did compliance because you allowed to do basically an increase, it's still being compliant. And we're not decreasing below what they recommended, which for this year would have been 12.6. As you can see, they saw that our population did reduce a little bit, so they gave us a bigger credit for this year. But again, we can't rely on that every single year, it's like a 5-year average. And right now, the population is starting to go up, so we expect it could actually not be there next year because we don't know what year they're looking at for these changes in reductions of high school. It's anywhere between 5-year period. So there's kind of just that we can reduce budget. If there was any talk about a reduction, the baseline for this year is $13.6 million. There is a credit going to be allowed by the state, but I don't know if it's going to be $200,000 based on with the student population has been going up at the high school level the last couple of years. So that is not be there. I think they just there's a line to max efficiency cap that is potentially as a possible credit to the reduction, but I'd have to confirm that. They don't seem to define what that efficiency cap means, but I mean, it's very difficult in getting that information out. So, but this is just a reference point for you to have to see what they say, considering that they are in compliance, and that a few years ago we had to give, like 10 years ago, we had to give the board that like $250,000 because we were not compliant. So, but I know that Barb and Scott and the whole community looking at the budget and trying to make sure that they kind of fix the numbers and considering that it's a big increase this year. So, But this is, again, it's just a reference. So everybody has. And that's what I think. So I guess next is mine.
Yeah, Stephen started alluding to the rain events we've been having over the last year are killing us. I've never seen the norms being 2 inches, 3 inches, 4 inches, 4 inches of slush to melt on top of 4 inches of rain. So what's been happening is there's nowhere for the water to go. It cannot soak into the ground. So it's overwhelming our drainage systems of the entire town. And where we do have 50-year-old culverts that are metal and we're finding the bottoms are rusted out, well, those can stay that way for a long time until you have 6 inches of water undermining them and undermining the road. And we're having road collapses. We're having head walls collapsing on streams going under roads. Right now, I just got a request from Senator Chris Murphy, and we're working with emergency management with FEMA, trying to see if our region can actually get some FEMA help. So I just put in a letter with the help of Stephen and Beth Lunt, our public works director. Right now, the 4 biggest issues Columbia is facing is Doubleday Road. That road is undermined. The drainage along our entire Doubleday is collapsing. So we're having a lot of problems with driveways, and that whole road will have to be replaced. Right now, that's estimated to be a $5 million job. Pine Street, that culvert, the 2 pipes are undersized. We've repaired it 2 floods in a row, trying to keep it from blowing out. But we're afraid another huge storm, we could lose the whole road. That's estimated at right now $1,325,000. Thompson Hill Road, the 48-inch culvert pipe is too small. It needs to be upgraded to a box culvert. That right now is estimated at $950,000. And then the Latham Hill Bridge, there's 5 pipes that make up that bridge, culvert pipes. They're all set way too low. It constantly floods. It's been flooding for decades. The road goes totally underwater. The entire road is too low. We're hoping we can get a federal state grant on that where we would, I got to get in touch with Lebanon, but we would both contribute towards 20% of that replacement. We're working with CROG for hazard mitigation money, which in our plan of conservation development. All these are listed as huge problems that we need help. I'll be sitting down with one of their representatives of Council of Government, CROG Council of Government, and the Capital Region, trying to see where we could find money. In the 5-pack meeting to follow, Board of Selectmen agreed I need to engineer at least the 2 major ones, Pine Street and Thompson Hill, immediately, so that I'm ready in case we have to somehow replace them sooner than later. The engineering alone on both those will be $250,000 to develop 2 new box culvert bridges on those 2 roadways. So we're going to ask 5-pack to agree with the Board of Selectmen to take from the general fund $250,000 for an emergency engineering of 2 worst roads. Right, but well, 5-pack doesn't have to approve it because it's capital, it's Board of Selectmen straight to a town meeting. Okay. And we're planning to have that the first Board of Selectmen meeting in February. I think it's the 6th or 5th. 6th, February 6th at 6:45 in the town hall. The other challenges we're having is I don't think anyone's thinking of a career working for cities, towns, or municipalities. In any of our options, we are stealing from each other for employees constantly, and it's driving wage rates up. We're also having employees all retire I just lost our assistant town clerk, Gail McGrath, after a great career. Retired. I just got the notice of our tax collector after almost, 34 years, 33 years as a tax collector. Carol Price is retiring. Our rec director just got stolen by Wyndham. She was a dynamo and will be tough to replace. And we're battling for public works employees constantly. So we all just hold our breaths with who's going to retire next or who might be tempted away. Because I don't know of anyone that had career aspirations to be a tax collector or a town clerk. So it's, what we've been doing is cross-training a lot of our employees, our floaters. We bring in highly qualified employees, teach them to help out in departments, and that's how we replace Gail. One of our floaters, who's also one of our registrars, Karen Butsky, we just hired her to replace Gail. It's a perfect fit. She's already trained, working towards her certifications. So we have been fortunate, and it's a challenge. Anything else to add to our woes?
Story of
Even?
woes.
It's a nice place to work here, so we got that going for us. And we're non-union on the town side, so that's a major selling point in how we're actually attracting talent that gets tired of the rules and regulations of the unions. And they like the flexibility here in Columbia.
I think I've been, not before. I'm good.
That's all.
So long as you're planning for the board of education, obviously we're in the middle of the HVAC project. Going to a single good time and then shoot a couple of years, getting way out, talking to the town about getting toward the end of its life and just not long a few years ago, we pulled those out and started to get those for down. Talk to Mike about, keeping the same design or redoing the complete side of design. It is not the safest design where you have family cars, staff cars, and that is all done together. We have a lot of staff out there in the morning for safety.
Rec Park's done. Rec Park is all done. We're
For
settled
now.
there.
For now. We're all
Till we
gonna,
want to make the,
we're all gonna be pitching tents up there and surviving. Okay, thank you. We have number 9, discussion general fund reserves and the mill rate. That's just say,
But, said before, the general fund is, as of June 30th, considered healthy. And the mill rate, I guess that's to be determined once, by tactics through, Board of Ed and Board of Selectmen, get all those budgets presented, so that's to be determined. In my opinion, based on, what you said, I guess be prepared that this is not a rebound year, so I don't know if we can sustain it at the same rate we are currently, which is like, something like that, so probably gonna have to have a discussion about possibly talking about an increase for the future. Or at least have it in the back of the mind. So depending on how the budget is presented. And with that said, also the audit report has to be get still to be drafted, but to hopefully file by the end of the month, and as I get that copy, I'll get it all emailed to everyone.
okay. Any questions, comments? I'm love to hear what you think, or if you're kind of soaking it in. I understand if you have nothing, don't worry about it, but comments, questions?
I heard about $7 million of everything.
Stand by.
and that's just the 4 worst. It just keeps adding.
No, they didn't, yeah, so. Latham Hill will share with Lebanon, so hopefully we'll,
7-2 without.
yeah. Other questions, clarifications, you need anything? Okay, so Mark, we adjourn the tri-board and go into five-pack meeting, they can, right?
Yes, we could adjourn at 7:45.
I move to adjourn the tri-board meeting and all those in favor? Aye, opposed? Thank you.
And actually, should I just leave the recording going and we'll go right into BiPAC? Okay,
Right back to order for January 17th tonight at
7:53.
Bingo. Do we need to read the rules of conduct and how we go?
no, you already said it. Ditto. That's tri-board.
Seeing no audience of citizens? We are. Motion to accept the minutes from December 20th.
I move we accept the minutes from December.
Any discussion? No, seeing none. If everybody's in agreement, is, and no objections, we'll adopt the motion as is.
Did you get a count?
Yeah.
Correspondence, any questions on correspondence? None, I think we'll move along. Full business, update on the 22-23 audit.
Yes, as I mentioned in the tri-board meeting, is that form, I'm ready to get it, so that we can get it filed by. Send it out.
Okay. Any? The new business, strike board and meeting discussion, anybody want to talk about anything you heard in the past? 15 minutes?
Oh, please, basically, we're in pretty good shape. It's not.
Okay.
I'm nervous. That information. It's gonna be. $7.3 million worth of road repairs.
One at a time, yeah, so we can understand. But, no, I think everybody's right. There was some very good news, Richard, and, there's gonna be some challenges. Okay, I think we can meet them, I know the town is, we don't have a choice. To do that. You have a copy of the Board of Ed schedule and, fund bank budget schedule meetings in your packets. So we'll move on to budget process discussion, 8.3. Schedule departments, are we gonna want to hear from departments and commissions? For subcommittees later on, of course, we have no time to decide on this.
I was like, I mean, that's, are you not gonna?
You want to hear it from the fire department, or
Oh,
we want to hear it from anybody like that?
I would like to inspire them. And I would like to do some line.
So we just, like, the board of selectmen sometimes has them come to their meetings, correct? So you want five-pack to be informed when
Yes,
you're gonna have people scheduled? And that way we have to have it as five-pack, like, so it's a subcommittee, so we can alleviate next meeting for these people. You want to be informed and then you'll be invited.
yes.
Yeah, because I just met with our fire department today, Stephen and I, and it was good. It was not, it was actually there's a reduced request for capital and a very teeny request in operations.
All right,
Next meeting's February 21st. What you do? I will be sure.
At what time?
Second.
7:57.
I second. Oh.
7:57.
All in
Art
favor?
seconded.
Yeah, well, yes, there's. Yeah.